People care so much more about your personal life than they do your work, and if you aren't open with your personal life, then they just make it up for you and share it for you.
Y'all, this drama is so messy, it makes reality TV look tame. Like, if you thought Hollywood's biggest scandals were behind us, buckle up. Because this one has everything. Feuding co-stars? Check. Secret text messages? You bet. And a celebrity lawyer straight up dropping their A-list client in the most dramatic way possible? Oh, it's giving courtroom thriller vibes. I'm Holly from Hollywood Stars Unfiltered, and today we're diving headfirst into the absolute chaos that is Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni. Once upon a time, these two were supposed to be the dream team behind It Ends With Us, the emotional adaptation of Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel, but instead of heartwarming cinema magic, we got a backstage war that's messier than a spilled mimosa at brunch. And now, Blake's own lawyer has publicly cut ties with her, spilling some serious tea in the process. So, what really went down? Did Blake try to sabotage Justin, or is Justin playing a masterful PR game? Let's get into it.
I was testing for a show that ended up actually getting picked up and doing very well, and I was one of two people maybe, and then I get a call from my managers and my agent. They were both on the line, which means it's something serious. Right. Either you got the job or there's something wrong. Yeah. And they said, so you were the choice, but the network said that your eyebrows would be too distracting.
Oh, what?
Oh no.
And then they went like, so what can we do about your eyebrows?
Blake Lively, she's Hollywood royalty, married to Ryan Reynolds, the internet's boyfriend, and basically the queen of effortlessly chic. We've seen her everywhere, red carpets, fashion campaigns, effortlessly dropping witty one-liners on social media. Flawless, right? But lately, that perfectly curated image has started to crack. The turning point? It Ends With Us. What was supposed to be an empowering love story somehow turned into a Hollywood train wreck. And now, it's Blake, not Justin, who's at the center of a storm that's threatening to take down her reputation. So, how do we get here? Oh, just wait, it's about to get wild.
I mean, I internalized that as opportunity. Like, we had such a responsibility to this audience to deliver something and to have the opportunity to deliver something for a passionate group of people.
Yes.
As someone who is so deeply passionate myself, I was so excited about that. I would so much rather have that than people who are indifferent.
Blase.
Originally, It Ends With Us seemed like the perfect passion project. Justin Baldoni, known for his feel-good emotional storytelling, Jane the Virgin fans, you get it, was set to direct, co-write, and star in the film. He was all about bringing heartfelt, raw emotion to the screen, and fans trusted him to do justice to Colleen Hoover's wildly popular book. Then came the casting bombshell, Blake Lively. Hollywood's golden girl, the queen of effortlessly chic. The moment her name was attached, the internet lost its mind. Suddenly, this wasn't just an adaptation, it was an event. Book Talk went into full meltdown mode, and even casual moviegoers started paying attention. With Justin's emotional depth and Blake's undeniable screen presence, it seemed like a match made in cinematic heaven. And for a while, it was. Blake and Justin were all smiles, hyping each other up in interviews, throwing out words like collaborative and visionary. They had chemistry, not the romantic kind, but the kind that makes you think, wow, these two really vibe. Everything seemed peachy, until it wasn't. That's when the cracks started showing. See, Justin wasn't just the director. He was the producer, the co-writer, and the lead actor. He had his hands everywhere in this project. And according to whispers from the set, that was the problem. Blake allegedly felt overshadowed, frustrated that Justin's name was all over every aspect of the film, while she, the biggest star in the cast, was being treated more like just another actor. And then the awkward moments started piling up. Fans began noticing things, little slip-ups that made it clear something wasn't quite right. Blake's interviews got weirdly formal when discussing Justin. Instead of the usual Hollywood love fest, her praise felt mechanical, like she was reading from a script. She dodged questions about working with him, offering vague comments that barely acknowledged his role. Even stranger, some of her responses felt downright chilly. At one press event, when a reporter gushed about Justin's dedication to the film, Blake visibly tensed before quickly changing the subject. At another, when asked what it was like being directed by Justin, she paused a little too long before giving a half-hearted, "Oh, it was great." Like, girl, the energy off. But the real red flags came from behind the scenes footage. Fans dissected every interaction, pointing out fleeting glances and tight smiles that hinted at growing tension. And then came the leaks. the real tea that confirmed what people were already suspecting. Suddenly, anonymous sources started whispering to the press. Set insiders claimed that Blake wasn't just frustrated, she was actively pushing back against Justin's control. She allegedly felt like he was dictating too many creative decisions and that his nice guy persona was more PR than reality. One insider boldly claimed that Blake had been venting to close friends about Justin engineering a media narrative that downplayed her importance in the film. And that's when things really started to unravel.
And being frank, if it were not for women giving me direct feedback in my own personal life and being a man who was willing to at least listen to them, there's no chance that I would be having this conversation. So the message, to answer your question, the message is very simple. As men, we need to embrace all of the parts of us that make us human. That's it.
It is.
It's very simple.
Suddenly, screenshots of text messages hit the internet. Texts that allegedly show Blake wasn't just a victim of bad press. Instead, they painted a very different picture, one where Blake was the one pulling the strings. According to these texts, leaked by sources close to Justin, Blake allegedly tried to control major creative decisions. She wanted script changes, different marketing strategies, even specific positioning during press events. And the kicker, she allegedly referred to Ryan Reynolds and her A-list connections as her dragons, warning the team that if they didn't play along, she'd unleash Hollywood hell on them. Y'all, what?
But I was like just tracking him down, and then I finally got to read the script, and the script was a thriller. So that was a little confusing to me because he's like such a funny director.
Yeah.
And so I said, what is this? Because the script is definitely like a twisting, turning, intense thriller. Is it a comedy or a thriller? And he said, yes. So then every day on set, I was like, is today a comedy or is it a thriller?
It's a good mix
and
of
it's
both.
like, it's like really kind of over the top and campy and trashy and fun and like,
It's a
kind
comedy.
of like my outfit, I guess.
Just when we thought this behind-the-scenes drama couldn't get any messier, Blake dropped a legal nuke. Out of nowhere, she filed a formal complaint against the production, accusing Justin of making her deeply uncomfortable on set. Her biggest claims? The production allegedly failed to implement proper guidelines for intimate scenes, creating an environment where she felt unsafe. Justin had made insensitive comments about her body post-pregnancy, remarks that, if true, would obliterate his carefully curated reputation as Hollywood's sensitive feminist leading man. Y'all, if there's one thing that can destroy a male celebrity in seconds, it's being accused of disrespecting a woman's body, especially a new mom. The internet is rightfully protective of women, and Hollywood, it's been dying to prove it actually cares about how female stars are treated behind the scenes. If Blake's accusations held water, Justin's career wasn't just in trouble, it was over. At first, public sentiment leaned in Blake's favor because, let's be real, Hollywood has a long history of sweeping bad behavior under the rug. People were ready to believe that another powerful man had overstepped his boundaries. And Blake, she had always been seen as graceful, elegant, unproblematic. Why would she lie? But then came the plot twist. Justin's team didn't just deny the accusations, they came back guns blazing. Within days, his lawyers released what they called the full, unedited text record, a set of messages between Blake and Justin that directly contradicted her claims. And when I say directly, I mean it was bad. One message stood out in particular. In her legal complaint, Blake claimed that Justin had walked into her trailer unannounced while she was in a vulnerable situation, making her feel violated and disrespected. Sounds terrible, right? Except Justin's texts showed a very different version of events. According to the leaked messages, not only had Blake invited him into her trailer, but she even made a joke about the timing in the same conversation. Y'all, the receipts were receipting. At that point, the internet flipped. People who initially stood by Blake suddenly weren't so sure. Had she embellished the story? Was she manipulating the narrative? The full text record painted a completely different picture. One where Justin wasn't the aggressor, but instead, Blake was strategically reframing events to suit her side of the story. And just like that, the legal tide started turning. What was supposed to be Justin's downfall was now looking like Blake's misstep. And this was just the beginning of her credibility unraveling. Because right after this devastating text leak, her own lawyer did something that left Hollywood shook. But we'll get to that in a second.
I think the idea that people think that they know you, I think because of how intrusive media is these days, people care so much more about your personal life than they do your work, and if you aren't open with your personal life, then they just make it up for you and share it for you.
And just when we thought this Hollywood meltdown couldn't get any messier, Blake's own lawyer did the unthinkable. They quit. Now, let's be real. Attorneys parting ways with their clients, it happens. Sometimes it's over strategy differences, sometimes it's just a quiet business decision. But this wasn't just a quiet, I'm stepping away moment. Oh no, this was a full-blown mic drop exit, and it sent Hollywood into a tailspin. Because instead of filing a simple withdrawal notice like most lawyers would, Blake's attorney took it one step further. They released a public statement. And not just any statement. This wasn't a polite, we've decided to part ways press release. No. The lawyer heavily implied that they could no longer ethically stand behind Blake's claims. Y'all, this was huge. In translation, something in Blake's version of events wasn't adding up. Now, let me put this in perspective. Hollywood lawyers are known for one thing: loyalty. Their entire job is to protect their clients' reputations at all costs. They get paid obscene amounts of money to fight, spin, and maneuver their way around any scandal. These people have kept some of the most problematic stars in the industry out of career-ending trouble. So for one of them to suddenly drop an A-list actress mid-scandal, and not just drop her, but publicly suggest that her case might be built on shaky ground, that does not happen. The legal community lost it. Industry insiders were shook. Entertainment lawyers started weighing in, calling the move unprecedented. Some even speculated that the attorney might have seen something behind the scenes, unredacted text messages, witness testimonies, or damning evidence that made them immediately realize that representing Blake was a losing battle. And honestly, if your own lawyer is jumping ship because they no longer trust your claims, that is not a good sign. This move sent a very clear message, not just to Hollywood, but to the public. Blake's case might not be as solid as she made it seem. And just like that, the power dynamic in this feud shifted. Blake went from being the alleged victim to being the one under scrutiny. Meanwhile, Justin, he didn't even have to lift a finger. His biggest win didn't come from a legal strategy, a PR statement, or even a counter lawsuit. It came from Blake's own legal team abandoning her. And if that wasn't already bad enough, the ripple effect from this decision was about to get even worse for Blake. Because once her lawyer bailed, Hollywood insiders who had been keeping quiet suddenly weren't so silent anymore.
It's believing that people and humanity are inherently good. And they crave nutritious food in their soul, just as they do in their body.
The moment Blake's lawyer jumped ship, the internet exploded. Like, we're talking full-scale digital wildfire. Fans, industry insiders, and even casual observers started picking sides, and nobody could agree on what to believe. Some fans immediately rallied behind Blake, arguing that this was yet another case of Hollywood gaslighting a woman who dared to stand up for herself. They pointed to decades of behind-the-scenes mistreatment of actresses, calling out the industry's long history of downplaying women's concerns while protecting powerful men. To them, this was just another example of a female star being punished for speaking out. But then there was the other side, the fans who felt played. To them, the evidence wasn't adding up, the text leaks, the contradictions, the fact that her own legal team bailed, it all started to look less like a genuine case of mistreatment and more like a carefully constructed PR move that had completely backfired. And once that narrative took hold, it was game over. Suddenly, online forums were on fire with debates. Was Blake really a victim, or did she weaponize the media against Justin? Did her lawyer quit because they saw the real receipts, the ones that could completely expose her? Or was this just a PR stunt that spiraled out of control and turned into a career-ending disaster? Fans combed through every interview, every awkward red carpet moment, every out-of-place social media post, looking for clues. Even entertainment journalists got involved, analyzing every legal move, speculating whether Blake had overplayed her hand and underestimated just how fast public perception could turn. Because one thing was becoming painfully obvious: the moment her own lawyer quit, the scales tipped hard in Justin's favor. Is Justin Baldoni the unexpected winner? Meanwhile, Justin, he barely had to say a word. Seriously, by the time the dust settled, his own legal team didn't even have to defend him because Blake's legal team had already done the damage. Think about it. He didn't have to hold a press conference. He didn't have to go on a damage control PR tour. He didn't have to prove his innocence because the entire legal situation collapsed on Blake's side before he even had to step into the ring. And the optics? Brutal. 1 minute Blake was trying to position herself as the wrong party, and the next, her own people, her lawyer, the very person paid to protect her image, was publicly walking away. And as that reality set in, the backlash against Blake only got worse. For the first time since this whole thing started, Justin wasn't the one under scrutiny anymore. Blake was, and at this point, there was no undoing it. So what happens next? Well, Blake's options are limited. If she doubles down on her claims, she risks even more scrutiny. If she lets the scandal fade, it still leaves a huge question mark over her credibility. And Justin, he might come out of this stronger than ever. Despite the chaos, his reputation is still intact, and honestly, this could make him Hollywood's next comeback story. One thing's for sure, this saga isn't over. If new texts, depositions, or more leaks surface, this could turn into a full-blown legal showdown. And you already know we'll be here to spill the tea when that happens. So who's in the right here? Is Blake the victim of an orchestrated smear campaign, or did she try to manipulate Hollywood and get caught? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I need to hear your takes. And while you're here, smash that like button because your girl's got bills to pay. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications because you know more drama is coming. Until next time, stay messy, stay curious, and keep sipping that tea. Bye, y'all.